Lights out and away we go. Welcome in to this Blackout Wednesday edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. We are with you a little bit early today as we are about to celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday. I got to drive to Oklahoma tonight. I almost called him Tex. Coop is here with us, actually. We'll be joined by Coop coming up in just a bit. He's going to the Knicks and Mavs game tonight, so we got plenty of stuff going on, but we still want to make sure we took care of you and got you our normal Wednesday live show, and we got a fun week ahead upon us as we catch you down to Sunday's game against the New York Jets. Coming up on today's show, we'll go over the latest news and rumors on your Seattle Seahawks. We got some roster changes we'll discuss. Speaking of changes, there's some major changes on the horizon for Seattle ahead of Sunday's game. Mike Macdonald doing some different things. We'll tell you about those coming up in just a bit. We'll preview that matchup, and then we'll also do a Q&A mailbag. There he is, Coop, just right there. Everybody say hello to Coop.
What up, Seahawks
Coop,
fans?
welcome back.
Yes, it's an honor to be back here on Seahawks Today. Everyone knows I love the 12s.
You do.
I'm a big 12s guy.
Yes, Coop was with us through the run of the playoffs a couple years ago.
Indeed.
And now he's joined Jack Sperry and the Steelers gang, holding things down there. But we still work together from time to time, but
absolutely.
good to have you back. I see you every day, but we don't always get to work together.
We don't get to work together very often, but it's a special holiday week, so I'm glad to be here with the 12s, baby.
Yes. As you guys file in, shout out your city. Let us know where you're at, and we will shout you out. We're coming at you from the Chat Sports Studios here at downtown Dallas, Texas on this Wednesday afternoon. I've been everywhere, Coop. I was in Fayetteville over the weekend for the Arkansas football and basketball game. Came back to the office Sunday, then flew out to L.A. Sunday night, went to the Chargers-Ravens game. Now I'm here, and now I'm about to leave again. But
They used to call it the summer of Jones. Are we calling it the fall of Jones now?
Oh, it can't be the fall of Jones. No.
No fall of Jones.
The autumn of Jones, maybe.
Autumn of Jones is okay.
But I cannot embrace my downfall at this point. But nonetheless, it's been a fun week, but glad to be here with you guys. And we got a fantastic watch party coming up this weekend. Smitty's going to be here with me for that, so don't miss out. Let us know where you're at, where you may be watching from. I know a lot of people traveling for the holidays and everything. I got Ty Man the Buckeye in Ohio, Flock Hawks in Ontario, Canada. Got Brian in New Hampton, Rhode Island, or New Hampshire, rather. Cecil's in Olympia. Got OTB in South Carolina. Jermaine is in Yakima. Got Benzo's in St. Louis. Steve J. from Seattle. Got Ryan in Moses Lake, Washington. Mikey in Houston is in Houston. You may have guessed that. Hometown in the coast of Oregon. I got the Traveler in Sweden. Hopefully you're enjoying some chocolate out there. Daniel in Kent, Washington. Blake in Missoula, Montana. Cohan in Aberdeen, Washington. Got B. Hustle in Bay Area, California. Sean in Tacoma. Got Brad in Moses Lake, Washington. Everybody all over the place here on this Wednesday afternoon. And if you would like to get involved in today's show, we have our Super Chat menu, and it is Blackout Wednesday, we mentioned.
Yes, indeed.
Unfortunately, because I do have some family activities tonight, I'm not going to get to be my usual self on Blackout Wednesday, so I'll have to enjoy myself here. And we had a viewer that did not want to be named that sent us a lot of good Washington beers.
Interesting.
And from some local breweries up there.
Elysian Hazy IPA.
Yes, that's what I went with here. And I'm going to go ahead and crack this open. We're going to get this Blackout Wednesday started a little bit early. I know it's still 1 o'clock on the West Coast.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Exactly.
Prince Edward Island or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. So why not get the holiday started a little bit early, get some drinking. We've got some beers in hand.
Ooh,
oh, that's
I'm
good.
not an IPA guy, but but I like that.
I like the hops in this. Very solid and
earthy.
Very earthy. You know, I was just starting to get low on beer at home, and then out of nowhere, this viewer that does not want to be named sent me all this beer in 2 different boxes the last couple days, and now I'm not going to have to buy beer for a while. I am stocked up with very good beer too. So thank you for that. You know who you are, this individual out there, and we appreciate you. Thanks for sending us these beers and helping us enjoy this this holiday here. Speaking of Thanksgiving tomorrow, Coop, what is your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Mac and cheese, easy.
Okay.
I love a homemade mac and cheese, little crispy on the top.
Do you have some specific cheeses you like?
I'm a big, sharp cheddar, some Gruyere cheese.
Okay.
A little blend, if you will. I love mac and cheese, dude. I could just eat that only.
I do love mac and cheese. I'm a big dressing guy.
Oh, I like dressing.
And
not stuffing.
There's a difference.
Absolutely.
There's a big difference between the two. So my grandmother, I know she's not watching, but we're not spending Thanksgiving with her. She makes some bad stuffing. My mother makes very good dressing. We're actually going out, so I'm actually not even going to get either of their options here. But the way that my mother makes it is the biscuit style with the dressing.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah, homemade biscuits and the dressing. That's my personal favorite. What about you guys? What is your favorite Thanksgiving dish to eat? Ty Man, the Buckeye says stuffing. And I'll say this, hot take, Coop, when it comes to the Thanksgiving food, my favorite part, and I know this is ironic because I'm not going to get this year, is the leftovers. I love just having Thanksgiving leftovers on Friday and Saturday and just have all sorts of options to eat. I mean, you can make a little turkey sandwich out of it or something. I mean, that's the best part for me. It's not even the day of, but just enjoying it all week long.
There's nothing like a little Thanksgiving leftovers. I hope I'll have some as well after tomorrow.
Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday.
Favorite holiday? Interesting. I don't know if it's my favorite. It's up there for sure, though.
I mean, it's real simple. It's food
and
football.
And the family.
And the family. You don't have to worry about gifts and, holiday parties and all that. I love that Thanksgiving, you just get it done in one weekend.
Absolutely.
The Christmas season wears me out.
It's a month long.
30-plus days. I mean, it's just too much. Why can't Christmas just be Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and be done with it? So I do love Thanksgiving. CP says mashed potatoes and leftover turkey gravy. Daniel says second helping of roasted cardinal. Ian says it's the whole meal for me, the dressing and the cranberry. Oh, no. Ian, not the cranberry sauce.
You're not a cranberry guy? I like it.
I hate cranberry sauce.
I like cranberry.
The cranberry sauce is disgusting. That is, to me, the worst Thanksgiving dish. I don't like yams either.
Not a yams person whatsoever.
Is that your least favorite?
Yeah. I don't eat yams at all.
Okay. What else we got here? CP Clutch says leftover turkey, gravy, mashed potatoes, dinner rolls, and a slice of pumpkin pie. Dinner rolls are good, but I tell you what, if you want to save yourself some time and something that's just as good, go get the King Hawaiian rolls.
King Hawaiian rolls are great. I love those flaky biscuits as well. Those are awesome. I'm a big bread guy.
Oh yeah. When I think of all the great kings in history,
Hawaiians,
King George, all these others, King Hawaiian had to be my favorite.
Oh, he's up there.
He's at the top. What else we got here? Deviled eggs, says Lon. There was a lady I went to church with. She was adamant not to call them deviled eggs. She called them angel eggs. I'm like, no, they're deviled eggs.
They're deviled eggs.
They're deviled eggs still. The devil's in them. Moneybag says pumpkin pie and sweet potato pie. Wait says mac and cheese or Hawaiian rolls. Jude says leftover mac and cheese. Okay. And then Brad says deviled eggs. So some very good options there. So if you would like a shout-out from Coop, go ahead and spam S in the chat.
I get to give shout-outs?
You do.
Let's go.
I got 80-plus people watching, but we need to wake the algorithm up a little bit. Let people know we're live a little bit early today, and just kind of get the herd on their way here. And so let's get their attention here. I want everybody over this next minute to spam S in the chat, and let's see how many S's we can get. Whoever spams it the most is going to be the early favorite to be the MVP on today's show. So get the S's going. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spam S. Coop's going to shout them out.
Shout out Ty Man, Ian Harmon, Sean Fan for Life, CPT Clutch, Jude.
Hey, Jude.
Hey, Jude. Steve J. Oh, my God, they're going so fast. Brad Reeves, Moneybag. Ian, C-Fan for Life. Brad again. Brad and C-Fan for Life are carrying the chat, not going to lie.
They are.
Daniel, I see. Blake. Who else is here? Ian. Flockhawks. Whoa. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I see Aldo. I see Jude. Steve J again. Let's go. Look at him go, baby. Captain Clutch. Marilyn Wilson.
10 seconds.
Blake, Jude, C-Fan, Ian, Captain Clutch, Steve J, Marilyn. That's basically it.
Nice.
Joe Goals. Let's go.
I saw Ty Man in there a lot. Saw C-Fan, Steve J. I'm going to go C-Fan. I think C-Fan had the most.
C-Fan did.
Good work, everybody. Get the check on, and the audience jumped up a bit as well. We're at 25 likes right now. Let's get to 30, and then we'll get this show started and begin with our news and rumors, and then we'll go from there. But I heard somebody say that I did not jinx the Hawks. I never jinx the Hawks. It's never my fault. When I pick the Seahawks and they lose, Coop, I'm of the belief my prediction wasn't wrong. The Seahawks didn't do their job.
Exactly. 100%. You are undefeated in your predictions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I do my part.
Yep.
It's up to the Hawks to do theirs. And they did theirs this past week. 2 straight. Ian's trying to claim he had the most. Maybe he did. I think it was C-Fan, but Ian, it was a valiant effort at the very least, as far as that goes. All right, 2 more likes, and then we'll get the show started. There we go. Here's what we're offering, by the way. I offered this to you last week. You guys came up short, but I am a generous person, so I will offer this another go-round this week. If we reach $300 in Super Chats, I will attempt a 35-yard field goal. I believe that if I was given 10 attempts, I could make at least 7. Straight on, not saying from the left or right, but I think I could make about 7 of 10 attempts.
0 chance.
Coop, how many field goals do you think I could make from 35?
1.
Just 1?
1 out of 10.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
So we got a doubter in Coop. Give me the chance to prove Coop wrong. If I do not make said field goal attempt, there will only be 1 attempt. If I do not make it, then I will do the Spicy Chip Challenge.
You're going to do the chip?
Yes. If we reach, so it's a 2-step process, though. We got to reach 300 first, and then I got to kick the field goal,
Correct.
and then if I miss, then I'll do the chip. So we're still a ways to go to get to the chip.
You said you get 1 attempt or 10?
1 attempt.
1 attempt.
1 attempt.
There's no chance you're making that.
Oh, I will make it.
No way.
I'll warm up ahead of time.
So you get warm-up kicks?
I get warm-up
Okay.
kicks. Yeah. But the one that counts, yeah, I'll make that.
What if you make a warm-up kick?
What if I make a warm-up kick, and then I'm warmed up?
That doesn't count,
It doesn't. I will be a man of my word. It
Okay.
doesn't count. No, it's got to be the 1 attempt. Let's see. C-Fan says, I think Tyler goes 500 on the attempts at least. Chefferton says, Jones, you never did a shot for my $10 super chat last week. Chefferton, I don't remember that, but you know what? I don't think you're lying. So I will pay up just to go ahead and get this started. This one's for you, Chefferton. Cheers.
Straight from the bottle.
Straight from the bottle. Why not? It's Blackout Wednesday. Why not blackout already? All right. Let's see. Steve says, when are you doing this field goal business? It depends on if we reach $300. Then we will set a date from there. That's step 1 of the process. So it's up to you guys. When I do it, you guys got to make it happen. So once you guys reach 300, then we will take care of that. On today's show, news and rumors, some major changes for Seattle. We'll preview Sunday's game against the Jets, the Jets. And then we'll also do Q&A mailbag as well. Go ahead and start to get your questions in using the hashtag Seahawks or super chatting. And we will get those questions to the mailbag coming up at the end of the show, our final segment. So make Coop's life a lot easier by go ahead and start sending those questions now. And that way we can get on with the weekend and enjoy ourselves and go from there. But we need you guys' help. Use hashtag Seahawks or super chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. Without further ado, let's get started with segment 1, our news and rumors, as we get some roster moves for your Seattle Seahawks. We'll start there as we get going here on this live Wednesday edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones, Jeffrey Cooperstein here with you. Let's go ahead and get started right now. You're watching Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. We have some movement on your Seattle Seahawks roster that we will break down. Everything that John Schneider and company has been up to over the last 48 hours, we will tell you about it in just a matter of moments. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for stopping by. Before we go any further in today's show, though, folks, we are getting closer and closer to 60,000 subscribers on the channel, less than 500 away now from reaching that next milestone. If you are a diehard Seahawks fan, this is the channel for you. We're bringing you live shows every week, watch parties every game day, daily news and rumors, breaking news, Q-Day mailbags, and more. It's all right here on the channel. Your one-stop shop for all things Seahawks. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did, and we'll get started with today's show. The Seahawks with a few notable roster moves heading into Week 13 of the NFL season as we are entering the home stretch. The run to the playoffs is officially on, and let's tell you exactly what Schneider and company has been up to. Starting with tight end Tyler Mabry, he was reverted back to the practice squad from the 53-man roster, as was linebacker Patrick O'Connell, but we very well could see them again on the 53-man roster. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going anywhere as far as that goes. Safety A.J. Finley was claimed off waivers from the Los Angeles Chargers. We're going to do an in-depth breakdown on him and what he brings to this Seahawks team coming up in just a bit. Meanwhile, Miles Adams, the defensive end, he was waived and is no longer a member of the Seattle Seahawks. While corner Ryan Cooper was signed to the practice squad as well, joining Mabry and O'Connell. But that's not all, folks. There was more moves for the Seahawks in the last couple of days, as we saw Cornell Powell signed to the practice squad, a former member of the Kansas City Chiefs. Fayan Hicks at the corner position was released from the practice squad. And then running back Britton Brown was released from the practice squad as well. So to kind of put a bow on all of this, folks, in the last 48 hours, that's a total of 8 roster moves between waiver claims, practice squad signings, players that were released, and more in that stretch. The biggest move here is what Seattle did, claiming safety A.J. Finley in adding depth to that safety position with an under-the-radar player in Finley. The more that I get to know Finley, and we'll go over that scouting report on him in just a bit, it's an intriguing player. And you think about where Seattle's at in that safety position. Rayshawn Jenkins is back into the fold now. Kobe Bryant has played very well, was just named NFC Defensive Player of the Week. We know Julian Love's had a solid season. Now you have some depth to work with in that group when you were just shorthanded in that spot just a couple of weeks ago. How would you grade the roster moves for the Seattle Seahawks? Weigh in. Let us know in the comment section. ABCDRF, what you think on our pinned comment today. Weigh in and let us know. I'll give you my grade in a moment, but I want to hear from you guys first. Chime in and let us know. My grade, I'm going to go with about an A- here. There wasn't anything that I found that John Schneider did wrong with these moves. It wasn't over the top, but it wasn't underwhelming. This, with 8 roster moves, are all things that you can live with, and you feel like the Seahawks are in a slightly better position from here. So that's why I give it an A-. I like the Finley signing for Seattle here to claim him off waivers, and because he is a former UDFA and a guy that's on a very cheap rookie contract, this doesn't cost you a ton of money either to add him and add depth to his position. Let's tell you more about Finley. Undrafted in 2023, out of Ole Miss, signed with the Chargers, and in his 2 seasons in the league, he's had plenty of time on the field, 370 career snaps on special teams, 69 snaps on defense, a very nice number there. And he's played in 22 career games, 12 a season ago, 10 here in 2024. His numbers not earth-shattering by any stretch, just 13 total tackles, but does have a 1 forced fumble to his name as well. But as you get to know Finley a little bit more, when you look into the details of what he brings to the table, this could be an interesting fit for Seattle, especially if there's an injury or something. where he could potentially step in or having a role in special teams, they'll find some use for him. He's a very hard worker. No one's ever questioned A.J. Finley's work ethic. He's got nice size and instincts. And you can't teach instincts. You either got them or you don't, and he's got them along with the nice size. So he looks the part. He quickly picks up assignments. For a guy that's joining this team here in late November, down the home stretch, this is a guy that will pick up things pretty quickly, that will get acclimated to what the Seahawks are looking to do here in this defense and finding his role in special teams and all that. Very good tackler as well. And, you know, what I find interesting about when I see a scouting report that talks about a guy being a good tackler, one thing that has grinded my gears as I watch football every single week, and this is not just Seattle, this is pretty much all 32 teams across the league. How much piss-poor tackling do we see each and every week across the league? And it's all over the board, right? It's every position, from the defensive line to the linebackers, corners, safeties. There is a lot of bad tackling. And I think, you know, not to go off on too much of a tangent here, but I think a lot of it has to do with you got guys that are not playing tackle football anymore at a young age, that they're playing flag football or they're not even playing tackle football till they're in high school. And I understand there's a safety element and all that, but to be a good tackler, that takes years of work. And a guy like what we're seeing here in Finley, being a good tackler, that's refreshing to hear for a player that, you know, could be the difference in giving up a special teams touchdown or not potentially here. I would like to see more tackling, less of the flag football stuff at the lower levels, so these guys can be better developed when they make it up to the next level. The big knock on him, though, is he does lack burst, and it has some speed limitations. So with that in mind, this is not going to be a game-breaking type guy, but the fact that he is a good tackler and that he's got a high football IQ, he can make up for that lack of speed. The other thing with this signing here, folks, there is no risk involved in this whatsoever. There's only good that can come of this. And with him being on a cheap UDFA contract, if he doesn't look the part, if the Seahawks feel like they can find somebody better for his roster spot, you move on from him and it doesn't cost you nothing. These are the type of signings I really like, just to take a chance, see what you have. You like the scouting report of the player, see if he can put it together. What is your one-word reaction to the Seahawks signing A.J. Finley? I'll give you my one word in a moment, but want to hear from you guys first. Way in the comment section and let us know what you think. Folks, it is starting to get a little cold outside, right? And you might be looking for a gift for the holidays for a significant other or family, friends, whatever it may be. Give them the gift of some fantastic Seahawks gear. And I got good news for you, folks. Not only can you order hats and beanies in time for the holidays, but right now, for a limited time only, they have hats and beanies on sale for up to 50% off at chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. Here are some of the options. There are plenty more that you can go see on the website for yourself, as well as the rest of our Seahawks attire. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats is where you can get these today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. 50% off for a limited time. Go check it out now. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. My one word is solid. This is a solid move. When I look at the scouting report, I know that there's not a ton of film necessarily with him just playing 2 years and mostly being a special teams guy, but there's not a lot not to like about this move for Seattle. Sure, he's not the quickest guy, but he's got the fundamentals and the high football IQ. And now you look at this safety room for Seattle here. Rayshawn Jenkins is back off of injured reserve, but Kobe is not losing his job after being named Defensive Player of the Week and having a fantastic showing against the Arizona Cardinals. He'll be playing alongside Julian Love and holding down those top two safety spots. Jenkins, a good depth piece. Reed, Finley. You got some players there that you didn't have at those positions just even a couple of weeks ago. So as the season goes along, when teams are losing bodies, what are we talking about the Seahawks? Well, they get Jenkins back. Uchenna Nwosu coming back to practice this week. We saw Abraham Lucas make his return. The Seahawks not only have played better football since the bye week, but also are getting healthier as they get to the home stretch, and that's a very good sign for this team ahead. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seattle Seahawks Today for the latest happenings on your favorite team all season long. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time right here on Seahawks Today. All right. There we go. That is our first segment. Up next, we will talk major changes for Seattle, but how would you grade the roster moves? A, B, C, D, or F? Weigh in and let us know. I see an A+ from Charles. Shefferton says inconsequential. What would be your grades, folks? Get in the comments and let us know what those grades are. Josh says B. Okay. What else? What are our other grades that we got in the chat? Chime in and get in the comments and let us know. Elona, where you been? I haven't seen you in a long time. Elona used to be with us every show. I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. Ian says B+. Marilyn says A. Marilyn, I might have to call you Marilyn Manson. That'd be, I think that might be a fitting nickname for you, Marilyn. Marilyn Manson. Probably get that a lot. Elona says B+. Sillage says C for average. Moneybag P says B+. Steve J says B. Let's see. What else? Get your grades in. Let us know what you think of these roster moves by Seattle of what they've done here. Up next, we'll talk about some major changes these Seahawks are making ahead of this week's game against the Jets. Also got a game preview of Sunday's matchup against the Jets. And then we'll also do Q&A mailbag. Get your questions in. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. And we'll react to them here on today's show. Need plenty of questions, so go ahead and start sending those in now. We also are taking your Super Chats as well. Waiting to see who's going to send in the first Super Chat of the day and get this party started. Look, it's Blackout Wednesday. I would love to black out here on today's show once we get through the segments. You're getting a little dehydrated, huh? Hopefully you're all right.
I'm good.
Okay. Coop is one segment in and already falling down on us, folks. Here's what we got on the Super Chat menu today. Who's going to be the first one? First-time Super Chatters get the Seahawks chant. $5 Super Chat, do the old Macdonald song. $10 to take some shots. $20 do a beer bong. $50 get sauced with the Seahawks sauce. I want to know who's going to be that first one. We're going to go crazy when we get that first one, but up to you guys to get this thing started and have ourselves a day. Josh says you didn't get much of a tan in Cali, Tyler. Well, Josh, it was cloudy and rainy yesterday. So hard to get much of a tan when it's cloudy and rainy, but it wasn't a lack of effort. Let's put it that way. I was out at the beach yesterday, but no, it was cloudy and rainy. So that was unfortunate. Get this. I've now been to the Los Angeles area, I believe a total of 6 times in my life. And what do they say about L.A.? It doesn't rain in L.A.? Coop, of these 6 times I went, I was counting this in my head the other day. 5 of the 6, it has rained at least one day.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's incredible.
I don't know how.
You just bring the rain to it.
I guess so.
You bring the Seattle rain.
Yeah. I guess so. I bring the Seattle rain there. There we go. We got some more questions to the mailbag. Elona, you can't have a space between hashtag and Seahawks. It's got to be together to pull the question. I don't know how many times I have to say that, but not enough apparently. So get your questions in. Send in some Super Chats. I want to have a good time today, but it's up to you guys to let us have a good time today. Coop, what's the Thanksgiving plans tomorrow? What are you doing with the fam?
Just going over to the house and, cooking up some turkey and cooking up the sides and watching all the football games.
Do you cook anything yourself?
I'll make the mac and cheese.
Okay.
I will make the mac and cheese.
Okay.
But that's really it. My stepdad will fry the turkey. Mom will make the other sides, and we'll get after it.
Since I don't have to cook this year, usually my specialty is the green bean casserole.
Oh, that's a good one.
I love green bean casserole.
The crispy onions on top?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why it's so controversial, but some people hate green bean casserole. I don't understand it. Green bean casserole is fantastic. Do I have any people in the chat that hate green bean casserole? I want to know why. I don't understand it. I don't understand all the hatred towards GBC. GBC is where it's at. Ian with the first super chat of the day.
Shout out, Ian.
Ian with a $5 super chat says, with new starters at center, right guard, and right tackle, do you think we'll see a resurgence in the run game? Hashtag Seahawks. I'll go more in depth in this in the game preview, but a little hint, yes. Yes, I do think so, because what we've seen at least two of the three positions anyway, right guard remains to be seen, has been tremendous improvement. Olu's been better than Connor Williams. Abraham Lucas has been better than what we saw at the right tackle spot prior from Mike Jarrell and Stone Forsythe and those guys. So, yes, I do think that. The run game's been better the last couple of weeks. Still got a ways to go. But, yes, I do think we'll see somewhat of a resurgence in the run game.
Macdonald had a farm.
C-I-E-I Hawks. Coop got to it before me.
Let's go.
There you go, Ian. Appreciate you sending in that $5 super chat. And I have people backing me up. Shefferton and Ian are Team Green Bean Casserole. That's good. That's good to see. We are a pro Green Bean Casserole program here on Seahawks Today. All right, major changes. We have some big developments. Dun, 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 dun. Some big developments for the Seahawks heading into Week 13. Let's explain what those are and more as we roll along. Segment 2, right here on this live edition of Seahawks Today, begins right now. You're watching Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as we head into Week 13 of the National Football League season. There are some very notable changes on the horizon for your Seattle Seahawks. We'll explain what those are and what the impact of those changes are coming up in just a moment. Before we do, folks, I got a little challenge out there for the 12s. The most subscribers that we have gotten on a single video for the month of November is 95. Not bad, but I would love to get into triple digits. Let's make this a November to remember here on Seahawks Today. For daily news and rumors, live shows, watch parties, Q&A mailbags, breaking news, and more, you got to be subscribed to Seattle Seahawks Today. We're covering everything you need to know on your Seattle Seahawks right here on the channel. Stay up to date, subscribe now, and help us break that goal today. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV to subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. Let's start with the right guard position, and there is a new name to watch at the right guard spot, according to Seahawks head coach Mike Macdonald. Let's kind of set the scene for you here before we tell you who that is. As you may recall, back on Sunday, as we saw the injury. Oops, this is my bad, actually. That shouldn't say Haynes there. Let's just take it from the beginning. Okay. That should say Bradford. My bad. Hold on, folks. False start. My bad. Wrote down the wrong. That's my fault. Wrote down the wrong name on the wrong graphic. We'll start from the beginning. Jefferson says all good. Ian says it happens. Hey, we're at the beginning, so it's okay. You know, we'll do it live. One more time. False start on Jonesy. 5-yard penalty. Just that first one. Just the first one. Yep. Minor change, and then we'll get going in again, folks. Yes, Ian, you were right. Bradford was placed on IR today. So with that, we can put him as out then, since he's on IR. That happened since I wrote that too. Okay. Yep. Yeah. All right. One more time, folks. We'll take this segment from the top and then get going again. Live show. Stuff happens, folks. Stuff happens. All right. One more time. Let's talk about these major changes. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. You're watching Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as we are talking about some major changes for your Seattle Seahawks. What are those changes, and how will they affect this team heading into Week 13? We'll explain more coming up in just a bit. Before we do, I got a little challenge out there for the 12s. The most subscribers we've gained on a single video for the month of November is 95. And I would love, before the end of the month, to have at least one video where we hit triple figures. So let's make this a November to remember. If you are a diehard Seahawks fan, you got to subscribe to the channel. We're bringing you daily news and rumors, live shows during the week, watch parties every game day, breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. It's all right here on your one-stop shop for all things Seattle Seahawks. Subscribe now, youtube.com/SeahawksTV, and never miss a moment. Lock us in. You'll be glad you did. Let's start with the right guard position. And there is a new name to keep an eye on at the right guard spot, according to Seahawks head coach Mike Macdonald. We'll tell you who that is in just a moment, what exactly is going on there. But let's kind of set the scene for a moment. Let's start with Anthony Bradford, as he was carted off the field in Sunday's game, and he is out with an ankle injury, going to injured reserve. And the rookie, the third-round selection from UConn, Christian Haynes, stepped into his place. We've seen the Seahawks go back and forth between Bradford and Haynes all season long, but there was a new report that came out on Wednesday, courtesy of Seahawks Wire, that said the Seahawks coaching staff really isn't too pleased with Christian Haynes. You would think that Haynes would be the natural one to step into the fold and become the starter at the right guard spot. But as the great Lee Corso once said, not so fast, my friend. Because you look at the numbers. Here's what Haynes has done so far this year. His overall grade from Pro Football Focus, not so great, 50.4. He's allowed 6 pressures and a sack in his time on the football field. And Macdonald said this in his news conference earlier this week when it comes to that right guard position. Macdonald said the Seahawks will also take a long look at rookie Satoa Lumea this week to compete with Haynes to fill in at right guard. That will also simply get Lumea up to speed for needing to now be the backup guard on game day. So you look at the offensive line for Seattle with Bradford injured, Haynes there, Lumea also into the fold now competing. The edge obviously belongs to Haynes to be the starter, but all of that remains to be seen. We'll see how this goes in practice this week between the two, but who knows? Maybe we see some more snaps for Lumea, whether he wins the job or at least rotates with Haynes potentially. This will at least push Haynes when it comes to trying to get the most out of him and let the best man wins between the two rookies for who could start at that right guard spot. Who would you like to start at the right guard spot? Which rookie would you roll with? Would you rather go with Christian Haynes or would you rather go with Lumea? Type CH for Haynes, type SL for Lumea. Let us know in the comments section which guy you would like to see get the start at the right guard position. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey. This time of year, Prize Picks is making a big push towards football and wanting you guys to get involved in this home stretch of the football season, as we're talking everything from pro football to college football. I'm looking ahead to this weekend, and JSN's been on such a roll as of late. I got to go with more on him to have 4.5 receptions. Also going with Aaron Rodgers to have more than half a passing touchdown. And you can play along with me at PrizePicks.com/CLNS. And they got a great deal they're offering right now, folks. They will give you $50 to spend for free when you play $5. You don't even have to win to get the money. Go to PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. That's PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Number 2 on our major changes for Seattle is the much-anticipated return of Uchenna Nwosu. At the time when he went to IR, we didn't really know a whole lot. And I don't even know if the Seahawks knew much about Nwosu's situation, whether he would even return to this team here in 2024. But He's been cleared to return to practice. Will we see him Sunday? That remains to be seen. But Macdonald gave this update earlier in the week on Nwosu and said the following. I think the plan is we'll have him out there in some capacity, return to play. In terms of how long, I can't tell you. The window will open, then we'll go from there. And for this Seahawks team, this is perfect timing to bring back Uchenna Nwosu. You look at this situation for this Seahawks team. Typically, what we are talking about with teams at this time of year is a fight for nutrition, right? And just trying to hold on to what they have as players go by the wayside. But what this Seattle team is getting back is Nwosu into the fold. Abraham Lucas is now healthy. Rayshon Jenkins just came back. It's very different compared to teams in this situation usually at this time of year. And you look at Nwosu, I know that he's been banged up a lot, but the last time that we saw him really fully healthy, you go back to 2022 when he led this team in sacks with 9.5. When he's fully healthy, he's a really good football player. And what do I tell you a lot on this program, folks? You can never have too many pass rushers. And although Derek Hall's been pretty solid, Boye Mafe seems like he's taken a step back a bit this year. Draymond Jones hasn't really been reliable. This team could use some help when it comes to pass rushers, and that's where Uchenna Nwosu comes in. Right now, the Seahawks are in the bottom half of the league when it comes to sack percentage at 7.20%. So whether we see Nwosu back this week or the following week, nonetheless, huge for Seattle to get Nwosu back, and he should be a difference maker and potentially could get his starting job back as well, depending on how quickly he gets up to speed and how healthy he is. Do you believe in Uchenna Nwosu? Do you think that we're going to see him back to form like he was in 2022? If you think so, type B for believe. If not, type D for don't. Weigh in and let us know. One thing to watch for offensively, a major change from this Seahawks team. We've already started to see it the last few weeks, but now kicking it up another notch is more screen passing. The screen passing game has been very effective for Seattle. It's been, I think, a building block for this offense in the direction they want to go and the success they've seen in this offense the last couple of weeks. And to kind of give you perspective on it, folks, in the last 3 games, the Seahawks have had at least one pass play of 17 yards or more on a middle screen. They've started to find something there, a mismatch that they can exploit these opposing defenses on. And now I think they're going to take it up even another notch from here, and we're going to see more screen passes and more of that middle screen game that's been so effective for Seattle. And for the Seahawks, it's been mostly through Jaxon Smith-Njigba. We've seen JSN play really well over the last several weeks with the numbers that he's put up. He had the back-to-back 100-yard receiving games, and he had 70-plus yards last week against the Arizona Cardinals. And that's where he's been a difference maker. You look at his receiving depth, and you can see the numbers. He hasn't done much when it comes to the deep passing game. The medium passing game's been pretty solid, and the short passing game has been really good for JSN, and the grades are there as well. Not only just the pure raw numbers, but the grades, according to PFF, show that that has been his bread and butter. That has been his strength with this Seahawks offense. But even with that said, it's not just JSN. It's also the running backs as well. It's using variations with these backs within that screen passing game. And all of your running backs that you have here, when you're talking K9, Charbonnet, Kenny McIntosh, what do they all have in common? They're all very good receiving backs. With what Kenneth Walker's done this year, close to 300 yards receiving. Charbonnet, close to 200 yards receiving as well. And one of the things I point to, who's the best coach in the National Football League right now? Andy Reid with the Kansas City Chiefs. And you look at what Andy has been so successful at, among many things. You go back to all the way back to his days with Philadelphia and Brian Westbrook and company. What Andy did a really good job of and has continued to do to this day is sub out the run game for the short and screen passing game. What Andy views in his offense there in Kansas City is they see the short passing game and the screen game as that substitute for the run game. And with the Seahawks not being effective really in this run game with the big question marks they've had on the offensive line, what they could do is they could take that Andy Reid philosophy here, and we're already seeing it, and use that as a substitute for the run game. The challenge going forward, though, is going to be mixing it up. Yes, it's worked the last few weeks, but now you have this on film, and more teams are going to be watching, more aware of that screen and short passing game. How can you continue to change things up and make it more effective? That's what's ahead for Seattle when it comes to that screen game, but at least they have something very good to build off of there. Speaking of JSN, we had this question go up on our community page just the other day, and I think it's a very valid point to bring up. Based on the way he's playing right now, he's got to be the MVP of this offense, right? I think he is. What do you guys think? Is JSN the offensive MVP? Weigh in, let us know. Type Y for yes, in for no, if you believe that JSN is the Seahawks offensive MVP or not. For the latest happenings on your Seattle Seahawks each and every day, you got to subscribe to Seahawks Today. Help us reach our goal of 100-plus subs off today's video. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you next time. All right. Halfway home. Up next, we'll do our game preview, then we'll get to our mailbag segment.
Let's
Dan
go.
the Man Miller.
Dan Miller.
Chiming in with a $20 super chat. We'll do a little beer bong with that in just a moment. Let's answer what he had to say first. With all the changes they've been doing, doesn't that mess up chemistry if they just keep making moves? Well, Dan, here would be my response, is that, and it's a valid question, don't get me wrong, but they had been struggling and not playing well before the moves they made over the last 3 or 4 weeks, that I don't think there was really anywhere to go but up with the changes that they made. I understand. It's a very fair logic, but I think that those changes have been nothing but positive because of where you were at previously. So I understand where you're coming from, but I think that because of where they were at previously, they're in a good spot, Dan. Thanks for that super chat.
Shout out, Dan.
We'll put it in the mailbag, and we'll do a little beer bong for you, a little IPA beer bong.
IPA beer bong.
Yeah, that's a bold strategy,
tough.
Cotton.
Let's see if it pays off for him.
Yeah, let's go. For Dan Miller, everybody spam
Shout
Dan in
out,
the
Dan.
chat.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Feeling woozy?
Feeling woozy. The IPAs, you got to drink slow. You know,
Oh, absolutely.
IPA beer bong. Oh, I don't know if I could do an IPA boot. That might be dangerous.
I'll pass.
Dan, thanks for that super chat. If you want to be like Dan and send in the super chat, here's the super chat menu. $1 sat next to the chat box. First time super chatters get the Seahawks chant. $5 do the old Macdonald song. $10 do some shots. $20 do a beer bong. $50 get sauced with the Seahawks sauce. And we also are about halfway through today's show. We'll do our game preview next. And I still need some more questions for the mailbag. As I see, Tony's got a question in there. Tony says, tell Big Tex I got my workout in my back, and I nailed it. Okay, I'll pass that along. Big Tex isn't here today. He's got the day off, but I'll let him know that you got that workout in, Tony. Good for you, man. Ian. No, we sang you the old Macdonald song. We gave you it.
We did.
We did, Ian. Did you miss it? We did, Ian. I swear.
Go back and look.
Coop started singing before me. Coop.
I got too anxious.
Yeah. No. We did, Ian. Don't. I'm very well aware we did. We did show you love for your super chat, Ian. I promise. All right. Game preview time. Let's tell you our keys to victory. Go over the injury report, and also we will give you my prediction for Sunday's game. Coop, Seahawks Jets. I think this is a sneaky good game Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets are in a must-win situation. Their season's basically already over, but it's always intriguing watching Aaron Rodgers. You never know. He could go off, or it could be an absolute train wreck. So
They're the best 3-win team.
They are. They play a lot of close games, and they're a pretty entertaining squad. So it ought to be a good game.
I'll mention this more in detail in a moment, but, you kind of throw out the records here. You can't just look at that Jets team and say they're a 3-win team because they still have Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Hassan Reddick, Sauce Gardner.
This team's loaded with talent.
A lot of talent. They just can't put it together.
Yeah, exactly. So, it'll be a tricky game for the Seahawks. Is this a noon kickoff?
It is, and it's on the road.
That's a tough one. So that's 9 a.m. Pacific time. Will those boys be ready?
Yes. We'll find out.
10 a.m. Pacific time, I guess.
They have a good track record in East Rutherford. We'll explain more in a moment. Ian says, okay, that's my bad, guys. No worries, Ian. No worries. If you send in another Super Chat, we'll do it again for you, Ian. I promise. All right. Let's get started. Seahawks-Jets game preview, and then our mailbag. Get your questions in. Hashtag Seahawks Super Chat for the mailbag coming up later. Let's start with our game preview right now. It is Week 13 in the National Football League. Your Seattle Seahawks riding a 2-game winning streak off the bye week, and the run to the playoffs is on. And now they head to Jersey to take on the New York Jets. The Seahawks slight favorites by about 2 points, coming in with a 6-5 record. The Jets at 3-8. Not a whole lot has gone right for this New York Jets team this year, but still a lot of talent there when you talk about one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time, and Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Hassan Reddick, Sauce Gardner. How is Sunday's game going to fare? We'll go over our keys to victory, break down the injury report, and I got my prediction for you coming up in just a moment. Let's set the scene for Sunday. The Seahawks have won 5 in a row against the New York Jets. And as recently as 2022, you may remember we did a watch party for that game, and I got to paint Big Tex blue as the Seahawks beat Mike White. If you need a refresher, go back. It's somewhere in the archives. But MetLife Stadium, where this game is going to be played, has some pretty fond memories for the Seahawks over the years of when they've played the Jets and the Giants. They won a Super Bowl in this very building as well, beating the Denver Broncos. Knock on wood, but they have never lost at MetLife. 6-0 record all-time there in the Meadowlands. If you want the Seahawks to beat the Jets, the JETS, SUCKS, like the video. Don't jinx it. I need at least 500 likes on today's video. That guarantees victory for the Seahawks. Do your part, like the video, and we'll get started with today's show. Let's begin with the injury report for Seattle. As of Wednesday on our live show when we taped this, Brady Russell with a foot injury, questionable. Noah Fant with a groin injury, questionable. While Chenault at the wide receiver position with a back injury, questionable. Uchenna Nwosu with a quad injury, questionable. And then a quick update on Anthony Bradford at the offensive guard spot with that ankle injury. He went to IR, and he is out. He will not play. So we'll likely see Christian Haynes in his place, although Mike Macdonald said that they have a little competition going on there for that right guard spot. The Jets not nearly as banged up as Seattle is, as offensive tackle Tyron Smith with a neck injury is doubtful. Running back Breece Hall is questionable with a knee injury. And then Jake Hansen at the center position has a hamstring issue, and he is questionable there for New York. So what's it going to take to beat the New York Jets? Let's go over our keys to victory now for the Hawks. And let's start with the hottest player for this Seahawks team right now. That is Jaxon Smith-Njigba. JSN has been on fire the last 3 weeks. This 3-week stretch has been the best of his career. And if you're the Seattle Seahawks, the game plan has to start offensively with how can we continue to get JSN involved and to keep up the momentum that we've seen over the last few weeks. In the last 3 games, the numbers are incredible for JSN. 23 total catches, 367 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And you look at that number compared to his season statistics, I mean, the yardage is nearly half of what he's done for the entire season just within these last 3 weeks. He's leading this team in yards, in receptions, He's got 4 touchdowns on the season. JSN is looking the part of that first-round receiver that he was a couple of years ago, and he's already passed up his numbers from last year. JSN's been on fire. We heard in the offseason that he was Geno's go-to guy. I need more JSN. Continue to feed JSN and build upon what we've seen the last few weeks. Who do you got? I got my prediction coming up later, but I want to hear from you guys. Will it be a Seahawks win, or will the Jets get it done? Type C for Seahawks, type NYJ for Jets. Get your predictions in the comment section and let us know. We mentioned Breece Hall on the injury report. Whether he plays or not, the big thing for Seattle is going to be to take away the run game and do whatever they can to shut down Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall is one of the better backs in the National Football League, but he really hasn't done a ton. We've seen the Seahawks run defense take dramatic strides in the right direction over the last 3 weeks. And I think a big part of that has to do with the trade they made for Ernest Jones and starting him at that Mike linebacker spot. In the last 3 games, the Seahawks defense is averaging just 88 total rushing yards allowed, including 65 last week against the Arizona Cardinals. And what has been the numero uno issue we have talked about for this Seahawks team over the last 3-4 years? It's been the run defense and how much of a problem it's been. And for now, it looks like it's fixed, or at the very least, it's trending the right direction. With that said, even though Breece Hall has not had the season that he's hoped for, he's still a very capable back, averaging 4+ yards a carry, 632 yards, 4 touchdowns. Got to do what you can to shut down Breece Hall. And as crazy as it sounds, I'm putting the game in Aaron Rodgers' hands. More on Rodgers coming up later. Speaking of the run game, let's talk about the offensive side for Seattle. And if you're the Seahawks, you got to find ways to get K9 going. One of the things we talked about on the channel this week was how effective the Seahawks have been in the screen and short passing game. And with Kenneth Walker, the main thing I want to see is just getting him touches, whether it's in the run game or in the receiving game. I just want the ball in this playmaker's hands. He has not had a 100-yard rushing game, folks, since week 1 against the Denver Broncos. Remember that game? All the way back in September. The weather was actually warm outside. All right, it's been a while, folks. That day, he barely even eclipsed 100 yards either. 20 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. I'd like to see him go off in the ground game, and if the ground game is struggling, maybe it's the receiving game, whatever it may be. But let's be real with y'all. K9's better than 3.8 yards per carry. All right? K9, I want to see him get going, get that run established. You guys know the theme around here. Run the damn ball. Run the football with K9. Get the ball in his hands and let him work. Who will be the Seahawks MVP against the Jets? Will it be Kenneth Walker, or will it be somebody else? Get in that comment section. Give me a name that comes to mind who you think is going to have a big day for Seattle against New York. I promised you that we would talk about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, I got to tell you, I'll be honest, I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan. I love what Aaron Rodgers has done throughout his career with Green Bay and what he's done, throughout his career off the field. And I love his personality. I know he's not for everybody. But even with that said, when you go back to on the field with Aaron Rodgers, he's not the same player that he once was. And I don't think Aaron knows that he's the same player, that he's not the same player he used to be. Now, one thing about Aaron Rodgers that we saw early on in 2024 was he was making a lot of mistakes. He was turning the football over a lot. He's cleaned that up a bit. He hasn't thrown an interception since Week 7 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's been 4 straight games since he's thrown his last interception. But that doesn't mean that he's not capable of making mistakes. Remember when the Seahawks played the Bills and we were talking about how Josh Allen had not had an interception all season long, and then his very first interception thrown was against the Seattle Seahawks? That's what I'm looking for here. If you can get an extra possession or two out of Aaron Rodgers If you can get him under pressure, get him under duress, he can't move like he used to before. I think that's going to be critical for Seattle to force Rodgers into making those mistakes. We've seen the secondary step up. Kobe Bryant's played better as of late. Devon Witherspoon, Rick Woolen, these guys. Let's see if they can get an extra possession or two out of Rodgers there. Let's talk about the former New York resident, Leonard Williams, who spent the majority of his career with the New York Football Giants before getting traded to the Seahawks last season, making his return to MetLife Stadium for the very first time. Had an awesome game last week, and I want to see more out of Big Cat. Last week against the Cardinals was his best game that he's had since he joined the Seahawks. 6 total tackles, 2.5 sacks, 1 stuff, 1 pass breakup. Leonard Williams was fantastic last week. And for me, I just want to see another week of that. I don't want it to be a one-hit wonder. I want Leonard Williams to continue what he started a week ago and to really just have himself a day, to go after that Jets offensive line, to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers. We mentioned stopping the run and all that. I just want to see Leonard Williams continue that, and I have every reason to think that Leonard Williams will continue to do that. I love that the Seahawks paid him this offseason, that he's going to be around for a long time. He's been a great fit for this team, and I think that he can have a big day on Sunday. Are you in agreement with me? Do you believe in Leonard Williams? Is this going to be another big game for Leonard Williams? Weigh in, let us know. Type B for believe, D for don't. Chime in if you believe in Leonard Williams or not. So to recap, our keys to victory for Seattle, got to let JSN cook. He's got the hot hand. Continue to feed him. Let him go from there. Shut down Derek Hall, or not Derek Hall, Breece Hall. No, we don't want to shut down Derek Hall. He's our own guy. We want him to go off. Breece Hall, do what you can. Take away the Jets' run game and put the game in Rodgers' hands. Get K9 going, run the football, get him touches, whether it's in the passing or the rushing game. Force Aaron Rodgers into mistakes. It's been 4 games since he's thrown an interception. Hopefully that changes this week. And more from Big Cat. Continue to build upon what he did last week. If the Seahawks do all those things, then I think that they could be in very good shape to get a victory this week against this New York Jets team to keep up the momentum from what they've been doing the last few weeks. This 2-game winning streak, trying to compete for a division title and everything. I'm going to go with Seattle 24-17, make it 3 in a row, 2 games above 500, and be in the driver's seat to win this division and make the postseason. If you're ready for a Seahawks win, like the video. We certainly would appreciate it. Don't miss out our watch party coming up on Sunday for Seahawks and Jets. We will see you then. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time here on the channel. All right. There we go. Dan the Man with a super chat. We'll go to him in just a bit. Do you believe in Leonard Williams? I do. Josh does. Fly Guy does. James does. Fly Guy's asking, how was L.A., Tyler? I had a great time. I enjoyed myself. Chargers-Ravens game was a lot of fun. But good to be back in the saddle here on Seahawks today. And
was there a lot of flock there?
You know, there was. So I'll say this. That was my second time at SoFi Stadium. The first time I went was a Monday night game several years ago. I went to the Chargers-Raiders game. Okay. And that was like 75% Raider fans.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
This game, I would probably say, was about 70% Chargers fans. I didn't know Chargers fans existed.
Me neither.
But they were the majority, at least for this game, but still a decent turnout of Ravens fans of the flock that were in Los Angeles. I was talking to some Ravens fans after the game, and they made the trek all the way from Baltimore.
How about that?
To be there. This wife and her husband, they brought their baby, which was like, just a couple months old, brought them in their Ravens gear and everything. Like, good family trip all the way from Baltimore. That's a long flight.
That's a long flight for sure. The Intuit Dome is right there too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite the sight.
Very cool.
And you know what? Not only did I have a good time, Coop, you'll laugh at this. I did survive Spirit Airlines.
Wow.
I lived to tell.
I'm not a Spirit guy.
It was too cheap of a deal for me to pass.
Fair enough.
So I did go Spirit this time. I know they're bankrupt, but they didn't cancel my flights. Everything went on time. And on top of that, too, here's the crazy thing. So I did not pay for any seat upgrades or anything. I got an aisle seat on my way there without having to pay any upgrades. And then on my way back, I had an aisle seat, but then there was empty seats on the plane, and they let me move to an empty row, and I sat at the window.
How about that?
So it worked out very, very well for yours truly. So no free ads for Spirit Airlines, but I live to tell.
There you go.
I've had some bad experiences in Spirit Airlines. This was not one of those. Dan the Man Miller with a $10 super chat. How is Lucas doing since he's been back? He's been solid. I've been very pleased with Abraham Lucas. And hopefully he keeps it up. That remains to be seen. But yes, he is heading in the right direction. So Dan the Man, here's a shot for you.
Let's go, Dan.
Go Hawks. Thanks for the $10 super chat. All right. Mailbag time. Our final segment before we wrap up and call it a day. Use hashtag Seahawks or super chat. Do we need some more questions, Coop?
I think we're good.
All right. How about that? You guys did it. I don't have to wait around for questions.
You can keep asking your questions, though, while we're in the mailbag if you want to get yours on.
Yes.
Hashtag Seahawks.
Simple as that. Hashtag Seahawks or super chat. We'll go about 8 to 10 minutes here.
Sounds great.
And then we'll wrap up and call it a day.
As someone would say, good.
I don't know who that is. Not me. So I do have one question before we start, Coop. So a little inside baseball here. We got the TV on in the office.
Yep.
In the studio here. And Coop convinced me to turn on some football.
Football.
I believe the game is wrapped up now.
It has.
What happened in our football game?
Liverpool defeated Real Madrid 2-0 in the Champions League.
Was that the result we wanted?
It doesn't really matter to me. But two of the very best teams in the world playing against each other, so it was cool to see, and Liverpool won at home.
Who is your European soccer team?
Chelsea is my team. I'm going over to London in April to go watch them play, so I'm very excited for that.
How did you choose Chelsea?
Good question. I think just playing FIFA.
Okay.
I played with Chelsea, and I loved them, and I kind of picked them and adopted them ever since.
In NFL terms, who is Chelsea?
In NFL terms, Chelsea is a lot like, I would say like the Dodgers almost.
Okay.
They spend a lot of money. They're pretty good. Underachieve sometimes.
Yeah.
But I would say the Dodgers is probably their closest comp.
Okay. Who would be the Seahawks in European soccer terms?
Ooh, good question.
Consistent team. They've won a title in recent memory. But they haven't been bad either, but maybe not great.
The Seahawks would be Atletico Madrid.
Atletico Madrid. Chat, I don't know if we have any European soccer fans in the chat. Does that sound accurate? Seahawks or Atletico Madrid?
Yeah. I like that one.
Lon says no football except World Cup, please. You still root for the U.S., though, when it comes to World Cup.
Oh, absolutely. It's always U.S. in the World Cup.
Yeah, okay.
100%.
Okay. That's, for me, when I lived in Kansas City, I did follow Sporting Kansas City pretty closely. They have gone to shit in recent memory,
yes,
so I have not paid as much attention. But I do root on Team USA when we get to global, the international soccer. I haven't picked out a European team. I need to find a European team to hop on a bandwagon.
Yes, you do. You absolutely do.
Maybe I'll join you and join.
You can come to the pub.
Okay.
Whenever I go, you can go to the Londoner and Addison.
Okay.
Go watch.
You know what? I might be in for that.
Good times.
I can be convinced. All right. Let's see. Drip, we'll include yours in the mailbag there.
Absolutely.
We'll include that in the mailbag. So, all right, here we go. Final segment, and then we'll wrap up and call it a day after this. Mailbag time here on Seahawks today. Price picks, yes. All right. Cool. Give me one more second. All right. I am good to go. All right. Let's get started. You're watching Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Things are getting very interesting for your Seattle Seahawks as we head towards the home stretch with the postseason on the horizon. How do the Seahawks stack up with their chances to win the division and make the playoffs? We'll talk about that. Also, some other rumors that you guys have when it comes to potential changes for this team. We'll go over all of that in just a matter of moments. Before we do, folks, want to make sure not only you're subscribed, but you're part of the Noti Gang. You may be saying to yourself, man, I would love to be a part of your next mailbag segment, Tyler. Well, you're in luck. We do these mailbag segments every Wednesday, and if you subscribe and turn on notifications, you'll be the first to know when we have new content here on the channel. That way you can stay up to date and you can chime in on our next mailbag segment. Subscribe now, turn on notifications, join the Noti Gang. If you're part of that Noti Gang, spam Noti Gang in the comment section. We'll get started with today's show. We begin with a $5 super chat from Ian. He says, with the new starters at center, right guard, and right tackle, do you think we'll see a resurgence in the run game? Well, I'll say this, Ian. It can't get any worse than what it was prior. We already know that we've seen upgrades at center and right tackle. Let's start there for a moment, all right? Olu is better than Connor Williams. That's a fact. The right tackle position, Abraham Lucas is by far better than any of the other options, from George Fant to Stone Forsythe to Mike Jarrell. Big improvement there. The right guard spot remains to be seen. Anthony Bradford was not playing that great, but Christian Haynes hasn't looked that great either. And we told you earlier in the week about a report that the Seahawks coaching staff isn't too pleased with Christian Haynes himself. So, yes, I think we'll see the run game improve, but I don't know if it will ever be great at some point this year. That remains to be seen. But at the very least, be improved, Ian. I think you're onto something there. Dan the Man Miller with a $20 super chat writes in, with all these changes they have been doing, doesn't that mess with the chemistry if they just keep making moves? So Dan the Man, what I think of with your question, back in the day when I was playing NBA Live on the old Xbox, you had the big chemistry meter in franchise mode, where it didn't matter how good your team was. If you didn't have chemistry, you weren't going to win games. And that taught me a lot as I got older in life that, oh, yeah, that's very true. Look at the New York Jets right now. Great example, who the Seahawks obviously play on Sunday. But with that said, the chemistry is a very good point to bring up. But this team was down so bad a couple weeks ago before the bye week, with the games that they had lost, being under 500, looking kind of, on the outside. There was really nowhere to go but up. So while I understand the concern, we've seen improvement. We've seen this head in the right direction. That is a fair thing to bring up, but I don't think it's an issue because we've seen this team head in the right direction, Dan. But it's a very good question. Next question coming in from very tough. How confident are you in the Seahawks' chances to win the division? Hashtag Seahawks. Great question there, Laura. Good to see you on Monday. I feel pretty good about the Seahawks' chances of winning the division right now, the way things stack up. You can see, look at that. How beautiful is that? That updated playoff picture with the Seahawks holding not even the 4 seed, no, the 3 seed. If the playoffs began today. It's a tie with Arizona, but they have the tiebreaker because of the head-to-head. And they looked so good in that win against Arizona last week, specifically on defense, that you would have to think that when these two teams rematch next week, that Seattle is going to be favored in that game. And then you only have one more divisional game to go after that. The schedule isn't easy down the stretch. I mean, even playing a team like the Jets this week, as bad as they are, they're still very talented. That's not a given you're going to win this week. Your worst team left is probably the Bears, but we know they got a high-powered offensive attack, and you're on the road in that one. It's the schedule that's my concern for Seattle down the stretch. But they're playing better football. You look at the teams around them. I think the Cardinals had a wake-up call last week with what the Seahawks did to them. I think they kind of got exposed. The Rams didn't look great against the Eagles. The Niners seem to be out of it at this point. I think Seattle's in a good spot, but the schedule is going to be tough here in the coming weeks ahead. Will the Seahawks win the NFC West? Type Y for yes, in for no. Things are getting very interesting for Seattle in this division. It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in. Let us know why for yes, in for no, if you think they'll win the division or not. Let me tell you about our sponsor. That's our friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. You choose 2 or more players in any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey. This time of year, folks, we're big on the football front. As you got the postseason around the corner in both pro and college football, and Prize Picks wants to make sure you get in on the football action right now, folks. They are giving you $50 to spend for free when you play $5. You don't even have to win to get the money, folks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. This week, going with JSN, they have more than 4.5 receptions. I am going with Aaron Rodgers to have more than half a passing touchdown, but hopefully there's going to be some turnovers involved there too. You can play along with me, prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, proud partner of the Seattle Seahawks today. Glad to have them on board here on today's show. Trep writes in with a $2 super chat. Do you think we will draft a quarterback or target one? So I was talking to our newest employee here at Chat Sports just today about this, Trace Moose. You'll see him, I'm sure, in the very near future, folks, doing a great job with our Red Zone channel, among other things. And when you look at this quarterback class, you have to think about it this way, folks. At least smart GMs should be thinking about it this way. Yes, you have your top quarterbacks, but then you go into that next tier and you say to yourself, all right, where can I find value? All right. When I look at this draft, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are the only quarterbacks I would personally use a first-round pick on. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be more first-round quarterbacks. Could very well see Carson Beck and Quinn Ewers, maybe even Jalen Milroe, despite how bad he looked against Oklahoma this past week. Wasn't that hilarious? I could see all 5 of those guys going first round, but I only have first-round grades on 2 of them, okay? So with that said, let's answer part 1 of this. If I'm in position to potentially get Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, if I'm Seattle, then I go ahead and get Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. But in all likelihood, they probably won't be. So then you start to think about later. Well, I'm not going to use a first-round pick on those other 3 quarterbacks, so where could I potentially find value? Stay alert for round 3, and a guy by the name of Dillon Gabriel out of the University of Oregon. He's not ready to start day 1 by any stretch of the imagination, but put him behind Geno. Maybe you could find another Russell Wilson situation potentially. He is an incredible leader. He's very accurate, very good runner. He's had some injury concerns, but when I'm looking at value, I could see some value in a guy like potential in Gabriel in that 3rd round. That's what I'd be looking at that quarterback situation. That's how I would approach this draft as far as that goes. Dan the Mad Miller writes in, how has Lucas been doing since he's been back? I like what I've seen from Abraham Lucas. And I think he's going to get better from here. His snap numbers are going to increase, and it's a significant upgrade from what we've seen from Gerald and Stone and George Fant and those other guys there. I think it's great for Seattle to have Abraham Lucas back, and it's not just him continuing to improve, but also continue to stay healthy. Hopefully, it's not a chronic knee issue for Abraham Lucas. Our guy Jeff writing in. Is Jaxon Smith-Njigba the Seahawks' new wide receiver 1? Well, statistically speaking, the answer is yes. He's leading the Seahawks in catches, yardage. He's got 4 touchdowns on the season, coming off 3 straight games with 70-plus receiving yards. He's played better than DK the last couple of weeks, even when DK's been healthy here. Jason's been great. But remember a couple of years ago when the Seahawks kind of had this wide receiver 1A and 1B thing with DK and Lockett, where there wasn't much separation between the two and they complemented each other? I think that's realistically what you would like to see with DK and JSN. Statistically speaking, yeah, JSN is your wide receiver 1 right now. But in a perfect world, you have a 1A, 1B. And that's what I think the Seahawks want out of these two. And I think you keep them both hopefully for a long time. DK has had a very good year. He was on pace for a career year before the injury here. So technically, yes, but DK's still right up there with him. And if DK hadn't gotten hurt, then we might be talking a different story. Which wide receiver do you believe is wide receiver 1 right now? Is it JSN or is it DK Metcalf? Type JSN for Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Type DK for Metcalf. Weigh in and let us know. Couple more for you. This one says, how many times do you think the Hawks D-line will get to Rodgers? Sack lunch, baby. So in this sack lunch, we're going with a PB&J. We're going with some barbecue chips, maybe a banana in there. Got to throw in a cookie. Always got to have a cookie in your sack lunch. Maybe a Capri Sun as well. Coop says brownie. I'm cookie over brownie personally. By the way, a brownie is not a brownie without nuts. It's got to have nuts in it. If it doesn't have nuts, it's a waste of your time. But anyways, with that said, Jets, some O-line concerns. The Hawks D-line, I think they can get after Rodgers a couple times. I think Leonard Williams could potentially build upon what he did last week and have a big day. If they can get after Rodgers, they win. Simple as that. You get pressure on Rodgers, you win. Jefferton writes in, is Scott Huff on the hot seat yet? O-line gets pushed back every run play, and Walker has to fight off multiple defenders in the backfield every time. Yeah, I think he is. I have not been impressed with the job Scott Huff has done coming over from Washington as the offensive line coach. I expected more, but let's see how the next few weeks goes. Before we fire anybody yet, let's see how the next few weeks goes. You've gotten some more guys like Lucas and others healthier here. Let's see what they do at that right guard position. Too early to call for anyone to be fired just yet, but let's see what Scott can come up with in the coming weeks before we say sayonara. Appreciate you joining us here on Seattle Seahawks Today. A lot of fun, always answering your mailbag questions. Subscribe now. Don't miss out our watch party coming up this weekend here on the channel. We will see you then. All right. And that's all our segments.
That's all we wrote.
We flew through this show today.
Brownies should not have nuts in them.
Why?
Nuts suck.
Oh, pause. Big pause on your part. You don't like almonds, cashews,
No.
pecans?
Not in brownies.
You don't even like, you don't eat just pecans or anything like that?
The only thing that should be in a brownie is a chocolate chip.
You don't like pecan pie?
No.
Oh, I love them.
Does that make me un-American?
It does. I'm not going to say I love and then that word because I know that's going to get clipped.
Will you please say it?
No, because I know that's going to get clipped. I would never hear the end of it if I said that. But, yes, nuts and brownies, that's the way to go. Do I have any disagreement on that? What was the chat saying?
Tie Man's with me.
I'm with you, Coop. Tie Man,
I can always count on Tie Man.
I'm disappointed. Tie Man, I thought I was your guy.
I can always count on Tie Man.
Tie Man, I made you a moderator in this chat. You betrayed me like that. Let's see. Ian says, I like RSO and my brownies. What is RSO? What am I missing here?
I don't know what you mean by that, Ian.
Yeah, I don't know. Fly Guy says walnuts for sure. Okay.
Now, I said chocolate chips belong in brownies. You can put some other things in brownies, if you know what I mean, that make brownies really good.
Oh, yes. Very good. Dan says, talking about green bean casserole, you should try cream of celery with cream of chicken and fried onions on top. It's very good. I've never heard of that, but that does sound appetizing. You not a celery guy?
Not a huge fan of celery.
I like celery.
It's tasteless, I mean.
I just don't eat it that often.
Yeah.
By the way, you talk about poor timing. You see this recall on carrots?
Oh, yeah.
E. coli.
Not good.
I mean, like, why did that not happen in, like, April or something? Carrots getting E. coli right before Thanksgiving?
Ian and I were on the same page, by the way.
Oh, yes. That's what he was referring to.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Rick Simpson oil.
That does make brownies very good.
I had a feeling you were that type of guy, Ian. I had a feeling. All right. We got to go. Coop, a lot of fun. Thanks for stepping in this week.
It was a pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes, you're off to the Knicks-Mavs game
Yes,
tonight.
I am.
How you feeling about your Mavs?
They're, playing okay. About 20 games in, they're kind of still feeling each other out and seeing exactly what they are. Pause. But I think they'll be pretty good. We'll see them in April.
Okay. I'm not allowed to talk about my basketball team on this show.
No, that's banned.
Yes. Yeah.
You'll have a basketball team to talk about on this show in a couple of years.
Yes. Dan with another take says, I don't like mushrooms, so cream of celery was the other option. Came out great.
Interesting.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we got to go. Coop, a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
Folks, have a happy Thanksgiving.
Have a blessed evening.
Yes. Enjoy your Blackout Wednesday and Black Friday, and we'll have coverage on the channel all week long, keeping you posted even through the holiday, and then we'll be back here for Seahawks and Jets on Sunday. We'll see you then. For Coop, I'm Tyler Jones. Have a great night, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for joining us.
Adios.